All right, all. I wanted to talk about your first major project. So, at this point, we've been working with HTML for about, HTML CSS for a couple of weeks. All right, so we know the basics of HTML. And we know the basics of cascading style sheets or CSS. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a choose your own adventure story. Okay, and it's going to be a choose your own adventure experience that's going to be built with using HTML and CSS. So the idea is you're going to come up with a story and a visual style, and then you're going to build the project from all of the, from that visual style that we come up with using HTML and CSS. Okay. So there's a couple requirements for this assignment. I'm assigning the 19th. It's going to be due October 10th, which is 3 Mondays from now. So not next Monday, not the following Monday, but the Monday after that. Okay, so you have a couple of weeks to work on it. There also will be, the week before it's due, I'm pretty much not posting any new material in terms of the, so it's just going to be time to work on it. And there's going to be some requirements in terms of the project. So first, the story must have choices for the reader. So these choices are going to be like hyperlinks. So it's like the idea is, there's a web page and you read it and you start, you click, you go to another web page. But there needs to be choices. That's what makes it interesting. There should be at least 3 places where there's a story or a choice for the reader. You should have at least 10 web pages for your project. You can have more if you want, but at least 10. All the HTML pages should follow the proper syntax. That means writing the proper syntax, having, HTML tag, head, body tags. Tags are closed properly, proper use of, HTML elements and things like that. You should have a CSS document that stylizes the text and the backgrounds. Your CSS should follow the proper syntax. You need to have images on your page. At least 4/5 of your pages should have an image, at least one image on it. I wouldn't use any CSS or HTML we haven't talked about in class yet, so I don't really want to see you guys getting into things like position or, position relative, position fixed, or anything like that. I don't want to see that because I don't want you guys just going out and copying something cool you find. I'd rather that you build something from what we learned. If you know how to do something, write to me and I'll kind of decide if I'll allow it. But I'd prefer if you don't use stuff that, we haven't talked about yet. No use of any programming languages, or if you're a CS person, a computer science person, even if you know how to write JavaScript, I prefer if you don't include it because that's kind of sort of that's kind of a leg up you got on everyone else, and that's kind of unfair. So you're going to basically submit me a root folder that has all of the files. You're also going to be submitting this to your server. We haven't talked about servers yet. We'll probably talk about it in a module or 2. But you guys are going to set up your own servers using 00 web host, and you're going to upload the project to that server so that it's live. Okay, just to give you an idea, this is some links to some student work here. Give you an idea of what you can do. So choices, so images, box model, things like that, Okay. Oops. So you gotta fix that one. But hopefully it gives you kind of an idea of what you can do. I'll have some other ones you can take a look at. But that's what you guys will be working on. The final will be due October 10th, which is a little bit, about 2.5 weeks from now. First step I want you guys to do is I want you guys to start thinking about what you want to do for this story. Okay, so to do that, what I want you guys to do is write a synopsis. A synopsis is just a short description of like, what is the story, what's happening. You don't have to like say everything you're going to do, but it's like, I'm writing a story about a space person who travels through space and lands on a planet, and they possibly meet up with aliens, something that just kind of talks about what's happening in the story, where's it taking place, what are maybe some of the choices that are happening. You can write it in just a standard text document. You can use Microsoft Word, you can do it in TextEdit, you can use Google Docs, whatever is best, easiest for you. I'd also like you guys to put together basically what I refer to as an inspiration board. Inspiration board is just a group of photos together that, are related to a topic. So for instance, you can build it in something like Photoshop or Photopea, or you can put them all into like Microsoft Word. I like using Pinterest myself. I find it very useful. So for instance, like, let's say you're working on a project. Your story's about space, maybe. So I'm just going to make a new board. I'll call it Space Story. And then what I want to do is I want to just find images that kind of inspire me for the story. So I might just like look around for things that are kind of interesting, that kind of get me thinking about what I want to do for this story. Maybe the style that the graphics are going to have, or the colors I might use. So I don't know, I'm just trying to find something. I like this one. So I'm going to add this one to my Pinterest board. You don't have to use Pinterest. I'm just using this as an example. But, this is just an easy way to sort of do it. That's one. Maybe I'll find another one. Maybe I want some aliens in my story. I want a cuter alien. I don't know. Oh, excuse me. Oh, I don't know. Nothing's really stepping out to me yet. Not that this one's cute, but I kind of like this one. I kind of like this one too. I'll add this. So, just some images that kind of inspire you for the story. I think it helps when you're writing a story or coming up with a visual design to kind of have inspiration for that. So I'm putting this all together. For me, I'm doing this in Pinterest. You're welcome to use whatever you want to use. You don't have to use Pinterest. And then I would just, maybe take a screenshot, turn that in. So, nothing too crazy, but I want you to write a synopsis and just get an inspiration board. Like I said, however you build it's kind of up to you. You can put it together in like Microsoft Word or Photoshop or Photopea or Pinterest or whatever you want to do to combine multiple images together. But I just want an inspiration board so that you can start to think about what you want to do for this project, okay? So both of those will be due Friday after next, not this Friday, but the following Friday, which is the 30th, okay? If you have any questions, feel free to email me. And I'll be talking more about this in the next modules. Okay?